Sen Ochoa Bogh.
Thank you, Madam President, and ladies and gentlemen of the Senate. I rise in support of Sb79 because it reflects the type of thoughtful, nuanced policymaking that has the potential to make a meaningful difference in California's housing crisis. I'd like to commend the author for his attention to detail in drafting this bill, which recognizes that there is no one-size-fits-all solution to the complex challenge of increasing our housing supply. You know, I've been in the Senate, this is my 5th year in the Senate, and my 5th year in housing. I was the vice chair for several years. As many of you know, I was actually a realtor working in housing, understanding the complexities of housing on so many levels, from affordability to the availability, to the challenges that first-time home buyers have in this state, to ensuring that we don't have enough inventory to purchase in homes, and the cycle that everything is, how it's all interrelated. Many of you know that my family, my husband's family owns a construction company. We're in construction. My husband served on city council for 12 years, understanding the issues and the complexities and the challenges of developing and building housing at the local level. And I do want to give kudos to the author because in my 5 years in housing, and 2 in which I was chair, and based on all of my experience that I brought to the Housing Committee, one thing that I do respect is that Senator from San Francisco has actually understood the challenges of building in the state of California and why it hasn't been able to be affordable to build. And it's not always about the return, it's always about the cost that is always transferred to the actual renters or to the consumers, to the people purchasing homes. And that's something that has to be understood. And I guess if you're not on the ground actually looking at it from the whole complex of how everything is interrelated, you're not going to get it. And this is where I am so grateful that he finally gets it. And I don't know if this is disrespectful, finally gets it, but he gets it. And many of the housing bills that he has introduced, who have been overwhelmingly opposed, is because he's trying to address the root causes of the complexities of actually building housing in California. So I commend him for the work, and I also commend him for the fact that he's actually attentive. If there's one, there's several of you, but one that actually is when it comes to housing, now I have a second partner, but I have a partner now that actually listens to the concerns that, you know, my district has when it comes to building housing, and he tries to incorporate and address those concerns in the bills. And I want to publicly thank you for actually engaging and actually listening to me. In the super minority as a Republican, you actually listen to what I have to say on behalf of my district and accommodate those needs. So thank you for doing that. And I'm going to start doing that to many of the colleagues who actually work with us to ensure that those needs are met as Republicans in the state. So going back to my talking points, by streamlining highly specific development projects near major transit stops, this bill strategically boosts housing supply where it makes the most sense. Areas that already have the infrastructure to accommodate growth and are connected to jobs, transportation, and economic opportunity. While I'm disappointed that the amendments to the bill now exclude fully market rate developments, the fact remains that when one city builds housing, the entire region benefits. Many of my constituents are super commuters, spending hours each day driving to and from work in LA, Orange County, or even San Diego because they've been priced out of living in those areas. More supply in urban areas means more options, lower pressure on prices, and in case of Sb79, shorter commutes and fewer drivers sitting in traffic for hours each day, not to mention the improvement of quality of life and behavioral health for those commuters and their family members that are waiting for them at home. In addition to the transit-oriented housing strategy, This bill's market-based approach to supporting struggling transit agencies creates an opportunity for long-term, sustainable funding solutions so that these critical public resources can continue to serve Californians without the need for government subsidies, which we've been doing every single year, I think every single since we've been here, because it can't sustain itself at this point. So overall, I believe that SB79 is an example of what we need to do more in California, which is pursuing solutions that account for the vast regional diversity and complex needs that exist in our state and maximizing the value of resources we've already invested in. And one last point that I do want to talk about is the importance of building affordable units in our state, in our communities. That can only happen if the state is fully funding those programs. And I know that I have communities, I live in the Inland Empire, Riverside and San Bernardino County, the fastest growing region in California. And what's interesting is that we still have the land to build. And many of my cities want to and are ready to develop affordable housing, but there's no funding for it. So folks, we're trying, there's various folks, but as was mentioned previously by my colleagues, we're not going to subsidize our way out of the housing crisis in California. We're going to have to build. And when we build, that means that folks that were renting get to go into these new homes that they can either purchase or rent bigger and upgrade, and then they leave behind open units that they can be used by other folks coming into the market. And I'm thinking about folks that just graduate from college, people who are just entering the market as young adults, living independently. These are the folks that get to come into those homes. When we have new housing coming in, we have folks that are retired, that are going to be downsizing, that now leave those homes open for someone else to actually come in and rent that. So building housing helps everyone. It's a trickle effect that happens when we build. We have to remove those barriers that make it difficult and expensive to build in California. And I thank the senator from San Francisco to listening to our individual districts and to engaging in the process of building more housing in California as the former chair of housing in our state.